So when we begin one of these journeys, any one of them, whether they're English or English to Thai, or group journeys, or the journeys we're doing for the Emerald Doorway book, all 38 chapters, another one coming up Saturday. These are done to help people begin to be comfortable with educating the body and brain they grew up with, and putting energy down through that form that brings more genius and brilliance and a higher IQ into your world, so that you can begin to comprehend what you are afraid to remember. It's only fear on some level that keeps people from remembering all of this. So there's only one thing we're required to give up permanently, and that is fear. Fear is artificial. It's artificially created and implanted or forced on people. These scenarios are in the billions that created these subconscious problems in people, which are clearly manifested worldwide in people on Earth. 8 billion people that can't remember who they are, how they got here, or what life is like out there is not natural, and it's not normal. First thing I say to you, this is telepathic. This does not mean I'm just speaking words through my vocal cords. You can hear that. But as a being floating above this body, a spherical being that really looks like the front cover of the Emerald Doorway book, just like you do. That's what we really look like. It's structure, layers of the dimensions of the color of light, teardrop shapes in it, each a different faculty, corresponding to all the dimensions. Each atma has this corresponding creative connection as a single being to the nature of the multidimensional creation. This is not easy to wake up in people on Earth who have been terrified and told if they get out of their body while they're alive, a devil will get them, or a demon or something. Or maybe it's contrary to the religious brainwashing. You know, if you're not just saved by one person, so you don't think or have to change at all in your life, then you go to heaven later and then you get to know the truth. That's an illusion. That's Maya. Because people are supposed to know this stuff running bodies on all 5 planes. Each one of us is running a separate physical type body on each of 5 planes. Physical you know of, that's the body you have. It's made of matter or atoms, energy, space, and time that vibrates at a specific time rate. In the astral plane, a whole nother division, the molecules in that plane are of finer nature and they vibrate at a faster time rate. The causal plane, a finer level of molecular matter and time rate, mental plane, and etheric. These 5 levels exist below the void. And you're running a body in each one of them right now, and you don't remember. It's just struggle to try to remember, because people, the way they're raised on Earth, make the mistake of thinking it's their brain in their body that can remember this stuff. This is not true. The brain and personality of this life only knows what it was trained to learn growing up in one short life. And that ain't much. It's the Atma you are running that body that knows the multidimensional universe and always has. It is that that has to be awakened, not the brain and body of one lifetime. So we go on these journeys to get a pure energy in the upper realities above the void and bring it back with us. When we bring it back with us, it moves through us. It's nature, the omnipresent you, the first sound behind creation, behind all of those stars and galaxies, and through all the multidimensional nature. All of it moves through us when we work with it for our benefit. But its nature is to move through us and beyond us for the benefit of others. So we actually become on these journeys, we start becoming awakening co-creators with the source behind all life. Because when we cooperate with it, it begins to charge Earth's negatively depleted H2O, the water molecules in the ocean and in lakes and rivers do not glow because they are depleted. 8 billion unconscious fellow human beings get in the way of that. They're supposed to be allowing it. They're blocking it. So you have enough you coming into Earth to keep life here, but unconscious life. There's not enough energy coming into Earth's atmosphere to waken people to remember what only that which they are that is not the body can know. So we leave the body in the trance state called sleep back on Earth. This is what we do. You do it every night anyway. It's so ironic that people leave their body every night on Earth and don't even know it. Haven't a clue. Maybe a guess. Maybe they've heard stories about out-of-body travel. But most people cannot accomplish consciously getting out of their body. They do it every night. But they identify with the body so strongly. When the body goes unconscious, or when it's put in the trance state called sleep, and you leave, that you leaving does not bring back to awareness of that body when you return what you've done and where you went. This is just lack of using higher faculties. Nobody on Earth teaches people on Earth to use those faculties, so they're dormant. They don't work. And people struggle to get them working against all odds. Certainly their upbringing and brainwashing and subconscious fear get in the way of that. So when I start to send out the hue, which I'll ask you all to do with me, then it's not just me doing it. It'd be Sean Rawl, Moon Terran, Ambassador Trellian, Master Ramu, Master Opelum, Masters Etta and Din, Master Lightsea, all these different beings who work on these guided journeys operate outside of Earth's atmosphere, not in it, not yet. They're not going to come down, land a ship, and wave a magic extraterrestrial wand and set you free. We have to go out beyond Earth and go get enlightenment and bring it back to our unconscious bodies and raise the vibration and raise the awareness of that brain and body we grew up with that didn't learn any of this at all, any of it, anywhere. Not even the most popular gurus from India teach this. They don't know about the hue coming from above the void, all the way from source. They know about maybe the mental plane, about the 4 or 5 lower planes. But when it comes to the void, that's God. There's nothing beyond it. But that's not true. The void is a barrier between the lower realities of time and space and the upper realities where you came from originally. We did not originate in the lower planets and galaxies of space and time. It is the omnipresent power itself, a neutral power, which is backing and supporting all those galaxies and stars. They are made of matter and molecules and atoms. The space between them is not made of matter at all. The void of space is not a void. It's a pure, powerful, conscious energy. More advanced races from the stars understand how to work with it. So they power their ships with the void of space. Think about this. Classified scientists on Earth call this 0 point or toroidal energy, the energy of the universe. They know how to channel this energy through their ships' propulsion systems, you might say, and drive their craft from one gravitational field to another without using any fuel, without depleting anything. They don't have tailpipes. They don't burn fossil fuel. They don't have radioactive warp cores or anything like that. In fact, radioactive materials are outlawed outside of Earth. So Earth people do not yet know this. When we go into the hue, these other masterful beings I mentioned are doing it with us. And they're basically channeling an energy from source itself through a hourglass-shaped vortex we create that links all the way through the lower planes, bypassing them to the void, and then it continues up through the Hue Expansion Ray Academy and all the way up to source itself. Many, many dimensions far above Satnam's realm. Satnam's realm is the first realm above the void, not in the void, above it, beyond it. There is no time and space or positive and negative energy in or above the void. We are comprised, made out of the same energy as source, spherically shaped. Each of those layers of color, teardrops, corresponds with a dimension. Think about this for a moment. Why is it that we are spherical beings? On the front cover of the Emerald Doorway book. Because like the spectrum of light, each color, each frequency, each level corresponds to 144 parallel dimensions in each one of those divisions. Just below the void even. 144 in the physical. Many planets are stacked one on top of each other. The people don't even know exist. Astronomers on Earth don't even have a clue yet. But the races from the stars know how to circumnavigate and craft between them. So the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance for Free Worlds, comprised of more than 450 million spacefaring races, is much higher than that now. But I don't want to overwhelm people. That's enough. They play among the stars on many levels in the physical universe. To go to the astral plane, you don't take one of their craft there. You park it, you get out of your body as an Atma, and you go and join the astral body you're running there, and you play in spaceship there. The same is true for the causal, the next plane up. Then the mental, where all thought is generated, not from the brain and body you have on Earth. And then the etheric. The etheric bodies are basically transparent, like you would see of some celestial image somebody's painted. Transparent, glowing eyes, glowing energy centers. You know, because they're made of mostly pure positive hue with a little bit of negativity mixed in it in the lower worlds. These are forms and things we're running as individuals. We have for hundreds of billions of years. It's not new, but it has been long forgotten by many of the beings that reside and play in the lower worlds of time and space, even in the etheric plane. The problem with these forms we are running is that not only are you usually not aware of them, but they're not usually aware of each other. These are your so-called higher selves, and they should be helping you here. So we get together with beings like Satnam and Ambassador Trellian, and we do a little rear end kicking, a little butt kicking to get things moving forward by passing back down through these planes on our return from this journey to get them aware of each other and helping each other. You are the spherical Atma running all 5 of those forms. They do not run themselves. No human or human-like body has its own built-in battery or consciousness. It is a machine. It's a biological, evolving, genetic entity. That is what our bodies are. As spherical beings, we have an energy connected to the pineal gland in the center of the brain that motivates and animates the bodies, or they don't work. They don't even breathe. They just drop dead. So no body runs itself, ever. It's all run by who we really are. What people on Earth call soul, without knowing what it looks like or where it is or where they have it, they mix up their body with soul. They aren't the same thing. The spherical form we are runs form, physical bodies. We should be fully conscious of this. On normal worlds, they know this. They grow up on civilizations where money is not only not illegal, it's not even allowed. They grow up being motivated to create with great brilliance new ways of doing things that benefit all life in the entire Galactic Alliance, on all those worlds. They grow up like this. It's not like people on Earth at all. The real point is, though, that you are all, each of you, once one of them. You're more ancient than the stars. Few things I can tell you that will make a difference in your eternal existence from this moment onward, and you will never forget it. This is telepathically flowing through you from source right now. You can't forget it. There is the hue, the sound, the first half of the word human, hidden in plain sight. When we sing it out or send it out or think it out or imagine it out, it connects a doorway or opens or turns on a circuit through the pineal gland, the center of the brain, into the primordial omnipresent you in space, which runs all the way up to and is connected to not just the void, all the way up to source itself. We start plugging into that, and then it starts, I don't want to say taking over our lives, but it starts to educate us or train us in a different way at that point. When it's aware that we have finally woken up enough, had enough courage to cross paths with the hue, which this work puts out in a very exclusively unique way, because it's part of disclosure. It's part of a plan the Galactic Alliance has to intervene in this planet, at least to the degree, to wake its people up, to remember they once were beings out among the stars and were Galactic Alliance citizens long ago. And before that, citizens of the Atma plane where Satnam is, above the void. And before that, source citizens, where you don't have a physical appearing form at all. It's a spherical presence. So we want to go to 3 worlds on our journey. We've been through them before in a few other journeys. Perry knows this. They are 3 experimental worlds out in our physical Milky Way galaxy itself, in this parallel dimension where we live. We'll get back to this, but they are called Zantrea, that's 1 world, Ontaron, 2, and Temesculan, 3. And these are worlds that are co-creatively manned by Galactic Alliance personnel and master teachers to do 3 things. 1 world is to help experiment with ways to benefit people as stuck in unconsciousness like the people on Earth. The 2nd world is with masterful adult beings, silent mentors occasionally, and that is to work with children to find the best way to help children on Earth, a planet like Earth, recover who they are. And the 3rd one has to do with animals and plants and birds and sea life and everything that's living that has atmas running it, or groups of things, to figure out the best way to fix the nature of Earth. It's just depleted nutrient-wise and many other ways. All of this is designed to help recharge Earth's depleted, negatively, mostly negative atmosphere, because anything has been done to people, by people, to plants, to themselves, to each other. And the history of this planet is stored in the water vapor, in the H2O, in the oceans of this planet. It does not go out in space, out in the pure hue. It cannot enter there. It's made of positive and negative streams of energy. And those streams of energy are bound inside Earth's atmosphere. So this is why we do this work outside of Earth's atmosphere. We don't have those negative influences that can turn on subconscious programs. When we go into the hue, you're going to discover that there is a couple from the Galactic Alliance who have left their bodies aboard the Emerald Star Cruiser stationed in the ice rings that orbit in the orbit of what was a planet between Mars and Jupiter, called the asteroid field. And that's where a big pyramid is, and then the Emerald Star Cruiser is not in that field. It is in the ice rings that form the 1.5 mile thick ice rings that circle the gas giant planet Saturn. This is a lot that scientists have recently found. In the last few years, 2 things that they've uncovered right on Earth. There was no Big Bang in the beginning of creation. That's already gone. They've been able to see so far out into the depths of creation. They understand now that it did not start with a Big Bang. That's one thing. The other thing is they know that the rings that circle the planet Saturn are made of frozen water, big chunks, skyscraper-sized chunks of it. But it's water. How does a 1.5 mile thick ring of water chunks get in orbit around a gas giant that has no water? Interesting, isn't it? See, that goes back in galactic history, goes back in solar system history that you all once knew, that you cannot remember now to save your life. But it's what happened. Maldek was a planet that was blown apart from the core outward, that was orbiting the sun between Mars and Jupiter. It's now the asteroid field. That's our history. The history of just this planetary system. These people leave their bodies as Galactic Alliance personnel, which they have to, and then they join us in a circle of beings with Tyrellian out in space, which we're going to get to. I'm going to send out the hue, but first, be aware that when you imagine going to the grocery store, it's exactly the same faculty that is used that does not come from your human brain at all. The human brain has no faculty of imagination. It's an organ, like a heart or anything else. It's a multi-billion circuited neural system through which you run all the complex nature of a human body. But it's actually the atma that runs the body through the pineal gland. The brain doesn't run it. The brain doesn't run itself. When a body dies, or a heart attack, or the body stops working, the atma that's already out of the body moves on. They cannot run it anymore. The system's broken down, and the energy that it directs into the body doesn't work. It's like that. The being you are does not die. It's not made of the lower worlds of time and space. It can't. It's not made of matter. A nuclear bomb wouldn't harm you at all. Your body would get destroyed, but you know. It's not made of molecules or atoms. It's made of the energy of the outer space. That black area isn't really black, or dark blue that you see in a Space Hubble telescope image or a satellite image of all those wondrous galaxies. The tiny little galaxies out there, most of those things beyond the Milky Way that look like stars are actually individual galaxies. Like what's behind Quan. You can see it online. They're individual galaxies, every one of them. That's just one parallel dimension of the physical universe. So, when we go on these journeys, you have to stop moving around if you're new to this. You can't be doing that. You have to be still. You have to stop moving. You've got to close your eyes and sit comfortably, because your body needs to go to sleep, or you will not gain benefit from this journey. When I send out the hue, the beings doing it with me will help this Galactic Alliance couple, a man and a woman, that look like Shantiel and Tonaltiel and Dantiam and Lamtiam and others. They'll stand beside you. So when you imagine going to the store, now imagine that you're looking down on your body from the ceiling where you live. That's easy. It's the same faculty. But don't make the mistake of thinking that it's coming from your human brain. It is not. So the person in England should get comfortable, try to be still, and stop moving around. Get somewhere where you can go on this journey, because it's not going to work the way you're doing it. Let me know. Why don't you ask her to let you know when she's ready? When she's got to let her body go into the trance state called sleep. The other people know how to do this. Because we are about to go on the journey. Everything else is preparation. Remember, it's just subconscious fear that makes you antsy and get up and walk around, be irritated. That will pass. As we start into the hue, your body will go into the trance state called sleep. Same thing you put it in every night, like a master. You have no problem doing that. so you'll have no problem doing it now. Except when the hue comes through me and passes through you. It's going to put your body in the trance state, but you're going to continue to listen to my voice. This is not psychic, it's telepathic. That is a direct communication in the hue between beings, not brains, not bodies. And it will put you in this state so that you can go on the journey and leave your body run safely while you're gone, just like you do every night. I'll begin to send out the hue. All that I ask of you is that you send it out silently in your imagination with me. Match the tones, because as Atmas, you're perfect as singers. This is not done with vocal cords, except mine, because I have learned how to run the body while it's asleep, run the vocal cords, talk with you, and guide these journeys. But remember this, as an Atma, I'm on the journeys with you. I'm going to send out these tones of the hue. Sounds like the name hue drawn out on the outgoing breath. And then it makes a connection in the pineal gland. And we start to begin to become aware of the source energy that's moving through us, keeping us alive, keeping Earth turning on its axis. All of that universe and all of those galaxies are run by beings called silent mentors. They are the mechanics of creation. Very few people in the galaxy and even on Earth have ever even heard of them. And mostly they never had any interaction with such beings at all. But we do on these journeys. You will find this out. I'll begin these tones now. Just match them inside yourself, because then you're co-creating this journey. You're contributing to it, despite whatever fears you have, which you're going to find you have the ability to put on hold, set aside. As if you didn't have that ability, you wouldn't be on this journey right now. Subconscious fears would have driven you another direction. So remember, you've already accomplished being able to master, override all your fears just to be on one of these journeys. And if I don't tell you this or mirror this in you, you may not do this benefit for yourself. So now I'll begin the hues. Do them with me. Hue. One of the hue is worked with childlike wonder. It puts a warm glow in your solar plexus, calms you down and centers you, makes you master over time and space and matter. Because the hue, the source energy, is master over the lower worlds of time and space. It's normally neutral and supports all life, good and bad and everything in between. But that too is changing for the first time. Because source energy, as it's run, above the void, Satnam's realm and higher, is changing. There is no negative nature there. There never has been any. But they have been supporting and cooperating with running the terror that is the lower worlds of time and space, good and bad, murder and wars and all that kind of stuff. It is a failed experiment of good and evil, because that's how we started this creation. We were together at the source as individual spherical beings before the lower worlds of time and space were even built. So, don't kid yourself. When you ask yourself, or I ask you, how old you are, it cannot be measured in the age of galaxies. We aren't physical bodies. We never have been. We never will be. The rest is what is called Maya, or illusion. The illusion that you're a body and can't remember anything, that's an illusion. The illusion that you can't leave your body or demons will get you, that's just a program talking. It's not real. Because you leave your body every night anyway, you just don't remember it. Which means you're already master of some things already, but you've forgotten so many of the higher faculties, or had them wrung out of you through terror in your past, that you're too terrified to recall them and utilize them. That's what this U does. It begins to put what's called the hue expansion ray, which is an energy that has come into existence as part of the omnipresent living power, above the void, and it is being distributed into the lower worlds of time and space as we speak. Its purpose is to not destroy the lower worlds of time and space. That's been done before several times. It is to finally get individual beings that come from Source to start co-creatively being responsible for good and evil and change it, to help change it. And that's part of what we're doing. Because if we don't do it with Source itself, it won't get done. And you really need to still that body. Take charge of it. Don't let it beat you around like that. You're already here, so you obviously can do it. You are near the ceiling, simply looking down at what your body looks like sitting there asleep. You could still hear something outside through your ears and your body, but that doesn't mean anything. You do that all night anyway when the body's asleep. It's a safety precaution. If you hear a big boulder coming down a hill and you're asleep and you don't wake up, it might just crush you. So the ears will pick up on something, send a signal to the Atma that's somewhere off traveling the universe, and you'll instantly appear back in your body or above it to save your own life. That's how that works. So you can hear my voice, and I am actually out in space right now, outside of Earth's atmosphere. The body is already in the trance state called sleep. And you are near the ceiling, and you'll find that there is a man and a woman well dressed in Galactic Alliance uniforms. They show you this form, about 36, one male, one female, that appear to be 36 years old, but they're many hundreds, sometimes thousands of years old. They're showing you the forms of the bodies as they appear in their real body forms on the Emerald Star Cruiser, stationed in the ice rings of Saturn. That ship is shown as original artwork on the front cover of the Sayre's Agenda book. 30-foot in diameter Galactic Alliance Scout, as they look today, with 3 semi-spheric pods underneath, glowing with a pale blue light, is the way they are today. The cylindrical tic-tac things you've heard of are these kind of ships, 300 feet long ones, white. They're already in Earth's atmosphere, they're already coming here, and the only reason they're here is to keep us from blowing ourselves up, which they have done. They're not here to interfere in governments or run the planet for us, but they do expect people on Earth, politicians and religious leaders, making fear decisions every day based on subconscious fear they don't even know they have. Fear is negative. It goes out in time-space. It's like a mirror of God. It's reflected back on us. Exactly what we put out, good and bad, and any combination thereof. So you see, most people on Earth are busy imagining goodness for themselves and their family and fear of the present and future. They are directly opposing forces, splits the consciousness of a person in half, and grounds the creative potential they have into the earth. This is what having a dualistic imagination does to people. These journeys help you come back together. It's like putting the yin and yang back together. White teardrop, black teardrop, circling around each other in harmony. The golden light around it. The yin and yang. That's when the two forces we call positive and negative are no longer opposed to each other. You get it? This is old knowledge, not new. The couple standing beside you are spherical beings, but they're showing you a physical appearing body that is not human in that it's not made of atoms or molecules. It is a projection from the white core of your being as the Atma. They have a Galactic Alliance uniform on. Single piece form fitting, including the shoes. Stretchable fabric they step into. Blue-gray. Fits over their body, their whole shoulders. And it has a single Galactic Alliance symbol on the right chest. It's a silvery golden galaxy. There's a four-sided, golden-sided, quartz-capped pyramid hovering above the big, bulgy nucleus of that image. And above the apex of the pyramid, 3 stars, cobalt blue stars in triangular formation. This is not a new symbol for any of you. You used to know it well. And then you found yourself born on Earth with no memory. That's really what happened. But it wasn't what you were like before you found yourself running a body here. You did not give permission to anyone to make you do. This was forced on you. Everyone knows it. So they have religions to believe in things because that way they figure they're safe and they don't have to grow or change. And they don't their whole life. We are meant to be direct experience-based beings. This means we go out of our bodies every night anyway. But as we awaken the sleeping consciousness from fear that has kept us unawake, then higher faculties and higher genius and higher intelligence begins to be manifested in your life on Earth through that body. You already learned it in other lives out in other dimensions, so you have a right to it. So we go on these journeys to bring back positive, constructive energy. Because you can't get it in Earth's atmosphere. The Earth's atmosphere is depleted. There's enough for you to keep us alive, but that's it. So it has to be greatly charged, because on normal worlds like the ones we're going to on this journey, all ocean waters, rivers, waterfalls, snow, it all glows a foot above calm oceans. Those are normal planets. There are billions of them. So people on Earth might as well get used to how much they're going to have to recover and wake up as disclosure takes place, because it won't be able to be hidden from them. Anything a person's carrying in their belief system that is contrary to actually respecting the greater God they pretend to worship by knowing it directly means we are required as evolving beings to know and respect all life in the grand multidimensional creation. It is not something that you can choose not to do. We have to do it. The energy of the Hue expansion ray is a consciousness running through the omnipresent living power that when it passes through you, it provides a certain wisdom you didn't have before. The wisdom of right discrimination. The wisdom to not make any more mistakes based on making decisions from fear. Because when you do that, they're always wrong. So gradually, we begin to make decisions without that element involved. And then we return to being normal beings. First, we have to become normal again. That means we know what we are as a spherical being running a body. That's what you would call self-realization. Then we have to know what our co-creative purpose is with the source behind all life. Now, that's way beyond the void. And that's what you would call God realization. Because what you are as a spherical being is made exactly of the same energy as the source itself. Like a drop of it, a spherical drop of it, out of a mighty ocean of the same energy, identical in every way, just much smaller in scale. This is why we have godly abilities, co-creative abilities, and people on earth are not using them, except superficial about materialistic things on earth. Temporary, short little 100-year lifespans, if they're lucky, that's nothing. Beings that live on those worlds out there in the Galactic Alliance live for thousands of years in a single DNA body, 4-stranded, not 2. The telomeres on each end of their DNA do not shrink when cells divide, so they don't age. Get it? There's a telomere. Science on Earth knows it. Supercomputers have mapped out the billion genomes that make up the individual switches on the twin-stranded DNA of a human body. There's one that turns on the telomeres so that it doesn't shrink when cells divide. It's been turned off in people on Earth and passed on genetically for countless ages. Where did that happen? How did that start? This is what these journeys are designed to help you recover. You're up near the ceiling and you've got a spherical being hovering to each side of you. That's easy. You have a body you're projecting. Each one of you looks about 36. If you're a male, it's perfectly, flawlessly handsome, well-dressed. If you're a female, it's perfectly, flawlessly beautiful, well-dressed. These are not made of molecules and atoms. They are prototypes, the original human-like appearing forms we show each other as atmas when we're out of our bodies. When fear is not influencing this, you can do this. It's awakened automatically. The sound of the hue coming down into earth through us and through you sounds like a deep rumbling, almost like thunder. No lightning, but like a humming thunder, gentle. It's very uplifting. It is the sound the entire physical universe, countless billions of galaxies, makes. The hue in it that supports all those things, those little galaxies that float in this much more vast space, that is the hue expansion ray. So when we go out into space beyond Earth and plug into it, it's moving through us. It is anyway, but people are unconscious about this fact on Earth. There's a white, golden pastel light passing down through the ceiling, through all of you, and through your sleeping physical body that comes from Source itself, Prime Creator. It is not a supreme being. It doesn't call itself that. It's okay. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it a dog biscuit or a hot dog or a butterfly or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't care. But it doesn't act or function the way people on Earth think it does. You can't just pray to it to give you all the things you want and expect it to revolve around you. We're meant to co-create with it, not have it revolve around our own selfish interests. It doesn't work like that. The energy coming down through the ceiling brightens. The next thing you know, you are in outer space, outside of Earth. Earth is in the distance. You are in that black-blue void of space, except now as the Atma. It looks like a white golden light everywhere, humming, vibrating right through you. This goes beyond what people call affirmations. This goes beyond visualizations of colors and places. This is in it, doing it. You cannot go back home to Source and recover all of who you are if you don't know what anything looks like up there. If you can't recover visuals of what it looks like to be on Telemedea 3, or Zetronomy 1, or Oceana, or Xeontornamon 1, or a silent mentor world, one of which exists in our galaxy, that even the Galactic Alliance cannot see. There are things about the universe and its creation that are barely beginning to wake up on Earth. When you look out into space from here, Everything's a white golden light. It's not black or blue. And you can see all the little stars in our galaxy, billions of them. Blue and yellow and red, big giant red ones and little red dwarfs. Most of the suns in our galaxy alone are binary or trinary, which means a smaller sun orbits the bigger sun and planets orbit the two suns or three suns. Earth has one. It is in an extreme minority compared to the rest of the stars in space. Scientists on Earth today now know exoplanets and all those other planets out there are orbiting binary or trinary star systems, three suns or two. The nearest sun to our solar system is a binary star system, two. That's how unconscious people on Earth are. They're afraid to know what's out there. They want to know, but something holds them back. In space, you are standing in a circle of beings around a dearest friend, Ambassador Trillian, of the Say-Rays race. The Say-Rays were a human race, evolved billions of years ago, not on planet Earth, not in our galaxy, have 12-stranded DNA, and all of the human beings on Earth and beings out in space that travel the stars have some of their DNA from the Say-Rays. Were once, you might say, great geneticists who designed mammal and other forms to evolve into higher forms that the Atma you could run higher faculties through to gain experience in these multi-dimensions, sensing and feeling and tasting and smelling and touching bodies and this and that, but should have remained separate from them. In other words, independent from the entrapment of thinking you're the body you're running, because that's what traps people on Earth. They're afraid of losing it, and yet they want to leave it. It's a dichotomy. It's an opposite. Divides their energy in half. Two things have to happen to transform planet Earth now. The water, the H2O in the oceans and everywhere else on Earth and in the atmosphere has to be recharged with the Hue expansion ray itself. When that is done, the water systems on Earth will glow. Oceans will be calm. There won't be tidal waves or earthquakes or volcanoes or hurricanes or any of that nonsense. When planets are properly charged by responsible beings living on them, atoms running them, with the Hue, planets change. The way they are change. Everything changes. Earth is next. It cannot be changed by the people on Earth. They're too unconscious to even lift a finger in their own defense. So it has to come from those greater beings that weren't trapped, were not stuffed in bodies with no memory. And if they have awakened enough, they choose to help set former beings that lived among them free that are on Earth today. It's very simple, quite practical. What we're doing out here in space, in a circle of beings, Perry's to my left, Master Opelm's to my right, Ramu is further to Perry's left. All of you are in a circle around, and there's a couple standing beside you, male and female from the Galactic Alliance. They've left their bodies to go on this journey because the fact is they can't take their spaceships where we're going. Can't take a physical spaceship made of physical matter of one parallel dimension in the physical universe and transport it up into the void and through all the lower planes. There are spaceships made of the matter in those planes that run there, not here, and vice versa. So to go where we're going, they have to leave their physical body behind in the trance state called sleep, which they're quite good at doing instantly. Also, when it comes through them, the Hue expansion ray, and they close their eyes and their body's already in the trance state called sleep, the energy moves through them and through us, so we pick up on this. We pick up on how they do this. and we start emulating them because we once were them. Eta and Din are two drens, 3 feet long from the tip of their nose to the tip of their tail. Their tails glowing like crystal opal in bright sunlight, standing on their hind legs with a big toe, little toes, big thumb, little fingers, just like an earth human. Pale green skin, not wet or moist like a salamander. Big bulbous blue eyes, a long kind of a snout. It looks like they're amused about something when their mouth is closed. And they're standing upright on their hind legs, hovering in space, showing you their 36-year-old Dren-type bodies. There is a spherical Atma hovering above each of them. That is the real Eta and Din. The spherical Atma you are is hovering above the body form you show all of us, the one that looks human. It's not your physical body that's asleep back on Earth. There are Galactic Alliance personnel from Zetronomy 1, a planet located near, not in, the galactic core of our galaxy, where the stars are much more profuse, closer together. You can't imagine what it would be like to stand on one of those worlds, looking out in daytime and see nebula and galaxies and other things close to your world. Spectacular, beyond what people on Earth could even understand right now. But it was your past. You were there. This life is not only not your first life, it's not anywhere near the billions of lives you've run in different bodies on different dimensions since the whole creation began. We are meant to be responsible, trustworthy co-creators. This means we have to first understand and accept that the failed experiment of good and evil is your fault. It's my fault. It's everybody's doing. We were there at the beginning. Complaining and bitching about it will never change it. We have to work with beings who do not think in negative ways in order to make this change take place for the first time in all of the lower dimensions of time and space. That is what is underway now. Not just disclosure about life beyond Earth. That's just a small part of it. Terrellian is standing 18 feet tall in the center of this circle of beings. He's got a white gown on. He's got long, slightly wavy blonde hair to his shoulders, bigger than human eyes, big blue eyes, crystal clear, slightly pointed ears. Holding his fists out with his 2 thumbs up, with a foot-thick white golden light around them that's brighter than the hue of outer space. And you wonder where that's coming from through him. So you look up above him and you see this bigger than us, great big beautiful Atma hovering there. And up above him is Eta and Din. Up above him is Light C. A being who has a body in the etheric plane and no bodies below that. And he works in the Hue Expansion Ray Academy as well, above the void and above Satnam's realm. And above him is Satnam standing there himself. And Satnam is the Purusha, or governor, let's say, of the Atma plane, where you originally started your journeys in the lower worlds. And that exists up above the void. There's no time and space in the void or higher. There are no planets or moons or suns or stars because they're not needed. Every being and everything produces its own light and sound. And up above Satnam is an hourglass-shaped, slowly revolving clockwise, an hourglass-shaped, golden white, luminous portal or doorway or interdimensional tunnel. There's a blue-green light like water flowing at a different time rate or a different rate around the outside of this hourglass-shaped vortex. And this has been created to bypass the lower planes of time and space and connect directly to the void and higher. There's a shaft of white golden light coming down through this tunnel, down through Satnam and Lightsea. There are two what are called silent mentors, couples standing to each side of Satnam. They're quite tall, kind of like Turelian. They wear individually colored, pastel colored gowns, like one's blue, one's green, one's yellow, one's red, or orange, or lavender. But these are alternating left to right, male, female, male, female. Hovering above them is an atma 4 times bigger than any of us. Twice as many teardrop-shaped layers of the spectrum of light color, making up their being that surrounds the white core. These beings have unlimited freedom in creation. They manage and maintain the entire multidimensional creation. Galaxies turning on their axes, interdimensional doorways which they guard, planes upon planes upon planes. This is what they do. And they have chosen to escort us on this journey above the void. The only place where we can rub shoulders with such beings is above the void, not down here on earth, not now, not yet. This energy brightens as it comes down through this opening, and it flows down through Turelian, out his fist with his thumbs up, always positive. It's creating a hollow, transparent, oval-shaped light around all of us in this circle of beings, like the hull of a spaceship, transparent, to keep us all focused on this journey. The sound of the humming of the hue in space is roaring through us. It doesn't harm us, it passes through us. Turelian points upward and then outward between the earth and the moon. The next instant, we find ourselves in this oval light, like being inside a spaceship, darting into space high above the entire Milky Way galaxy, so that we're out in that vast golden white void, looking down on the entire galaxy. In the distance, you can see our nearest galactic neighbor, slightly bigger spiral galaxy called Andromeda. And we're looking down to a 4th spiral arm out of 7. And along its length, you're going to see these individual worlds light up around what are called trinary sun systems. The first thing we want to do to gain experience, to be co-creatively involved in transforming the charge in Earth's atmosphere, which is what we're doing, the purpose for this training or this direct experience. These faculties, these facilities are run by silent mentors and master teachers to develop new ways and new technologies and transforming energy rays to fix humans, animals, sea life, bird and plant life on Earth, among many other worlds as well. There are 3 special worlds where this is conducted in the Milky Way galaxy and 3 in the Andromeda galaxy simultaneously. The first location is 1/2 way down the 4th spiral arm of our galaxy, away from the spiral arm number 7, where Earth is located, 2/3 of the way down its length. The planets revealed during this journey circle a trinary star system, a big light blue young star at its center, then a big yellow sun much larger than the sun Earth circles, but then the blue one, and then further out a giant red dwarf type star. It's not a red dwarf, it's a giant red star or red giant. This is an expanding star nearing the end of its life, but it could be around for another 1 billion years. The first planet we're going to explore is called Zantrea. It is located in the 5th orbital position around a trinary star system. It has 5 moons the size of Earth orbiting it, all of with no polar ice caps, dome cities, and various land masses and oceans. Silent mentors and advanced master teachers work here together to get a handle on new ways to create doing things, to retire the old failed experiment of good and evil, by replacing them with the hue expansion ray and the wisdom it imparts as it moves through us. This is done here to eventually bring what works here at some point to Earth and other troubled worlds, to transform humanity. Only adult human beings run by conscious atmas on this world that freely work here are tested with new ways to get subconscious blocks and fears neutralized. This isn't just implants from a primary implant from reptilian, your recent history, galactic history. It has to do with subconscious fears in all the lower bodies over billions of years. And we can see this world, we're hovering above it. The oceans are glowing on this planet. It has several continents centered over the equator, one in the North Pole, one in the South Pole, with oceans, luminous, calm, glowing blue-green ocean. You can see the 5 planets the size of Earth orbiting at different orbital positions. They don't have any polar ice caps either. Binary and trinary sun systems make it so that planets don't have ice caps. They also don't have violent problems. Then we're moving out past this in this solar system, further out away from this triple star system, and we come to hover above a planet called Antaron. It is located on another planet in the 6th orbital position around the trinary star group. Here there are only human and a few other races of children being run by advanced conscious master atmas to bring into creation new ways to correct the unconscious states of children on planets like Earth and other worlds in the lower worlds of time and space. What is done here is also exported to the astral, causal, mental, and etheric planes. They're all connected. This is how you're supposed to be working with your other forms you're running and with each other, with all of us. And we move out to the 7th orbital position, and it's a planet called Temasculine. And it's located in the 7th planetary orbital, further out from the trinary sun system. Here only animals, plants, birds, mammals, and sea life with every advanced atmas running them conduct experiments to create and then implement new ways to free the atmas running these bodies that are twisted and misdirected, so that an awakening respect for the atmas running animals, mammals, birds, and sea life, and respectful kindness is awakened at some point in people like those misdirected humans living on Earth. Oh, they are. This is also going on planets in similar locations within our nearest galactic neighbor or galaxy we call Andromeda. Each of you will see the land masses on these worlds. You can see them all from above the entire solar system that are glowing. The worlds, these are big worlds. These main worlds are 4 times bigger than Earth. The worlds that orbit them are about the size of Earth. Some a little bigger, some a little smaller. None of them have polar ice caps. They don't have tidal waves or earthquakes or continental drifting or tornadoes or volcanoes or any of it. See, that's normal. Earth is not yet normal. One thing that's been done for Earth that I will share with all of you while we're here around Torelli. In fact, he's sharing it with you telepathically now. Earth's poles used to flip overnight 180 degrees every 100,000 years, just like clockwork. This would destroy the continents that were there. And to counterbalance the molten core, they would sink into the oceans and new continents would rise up. This would happen in 24 hours, not long ice ages. Ice ages come about after this happens. Most life is extinguished. The last culture, called Lemuria and Atla or Atlantis, which is a colony continent of it, ended 100,000 years ago. We were due for another one. We would have had it. These beings who were the mechanics, the silent mentors, have prevented permanently Earth's poles from flipping again. So the old idea of golden age to iron age and back again is now over permanently for this planet. So it can evolve like other worlds do for hundreds of millions of years without such problems. When most life is destroyed in the past on Earth this way, the planet had to be recolonized from space, of course. Understand that these experimental worlds in the Milky Way galaxy and in the Andromeda galaxy have corresponding places for developing new ways of implementing an unexpected uplifting transformation for the terribly misguided and misdirected people of planet Earth and other planetary systems. Experiments that are developed and then tested to work are then inspired to be created on these three worlds, so what is done there can at some point be brought to Earth as part of the new Q expansion ray energy, now moving for the first time within the omnipresent living one power or first sound behind creation that emanates directly from the source, Prime Creator. When you look up in space and you find yourself now around Trillian, I'm standing by his right side. Satnam's standing by his left side. All of you are in a circle with the Galactic Alliance personnel who've come with us on this journey. You hear the sound of space, this humming, change slowly into the high note of a flute. We can see that this sound is being made from the bottom of the vortex, which is up in space where no galaxies are above us. And you can see way on the other end of this vortex a brilliant cobalt blue, pale blue light. It's brilliant, but I call it a pale blue cobalt light. That is the energy of the void. And this tunnel bypasses the lower of the planes like the astral, physical, astral, causal, mental, and etheric. We are still inside an oval, golden, transparent light, like the hull of a spaceship. This is being generated by Ambassador Trillian's thumbs up with his fist closed. It's really being generated from the source itself. So this way, the source energy gets to us when we're out in space. Because out in space, you can't bring any negative, positive and negative ideas or anything else and store it in space. It cannot store it there. It stays within Earth's atmosphere. So obviously Earth's atmosphere needs to be charged and transformed. So all the negative stuff stored there is erased at some point. This is not new. It is ancient technology. People on Earth are not evolved enough or awake enough to fix this themselves. It has to come from outside Earth to Earth, from the greater God they pray to every day. How many people pray to God every day can imagine what we're doing now? If we can't imagine where we're going, we cannot go there. The one source behind all life works within its own law. You have to be awake enough to see where you want it to take you before it can take you anywhere. That is the value of this work, where I'm able to describe for you telepathically what we're seeing, because then you're seeing it too. It's waking up in you. And now Trillian points upward. And we are heading up into the bottom of this void, and Satnam suddenly disappears and reappears, heading up in the void. I'm right beside him. And light's eased on the other side, and there's two silent mentor couples. They look like these male, female, with long hair to their shoulders, single pastel gowns, and above them is hovering a spherical being 4 times larger than us. And then they disappear up inside this void. and we disappear up inside it, being drawn upward by this single flute sound. We come out the other end and we realize we're now deep in the interior, heading upward in a spiral within a pale blue luminous light. There's nothing here, no buildings, no people you can see. There are beings here, but you won't see them until you're introduced to them. And we're moving upward in this oval light, and up ahead we see a single point of light grow wider until we suddenly realize we're hovering above a massive diamond-like glowing beach, a foot thick above the sand. It goes as far as you can see left and right and curves in on itself, implying that this beach circles a massive circular landmass. Everything below here is the void. Everything from that beach onward is the Atma plane, the first mystic realm of pure positive energy above the void and beyond the lower worlds of time and space. Satnam is now hovering above the sand. And then we're all wiggling our toes, bare feet. Remember those forms that look perfect about 36? If you did that, Satnam was the original prototype for human appearing forms. And you can feel this energy move up your legs. It's soothing and cooling. It's a gift. And one of these grains of sand, as it moves up through your body, you can see through your body. And it's perfectly spherical. It's like a glowing diamond. It goes right through the top of your head. You lift your head up smiling, goes right into the white core of your being. And then you're inside the white core of your being, the spherical being, looking down on your body, looking up at you, smiling. This is you, both. It's a gift. One of those grains is to help you remember your lives from the void upward that you've long forgotten, to become more familiar with celestial realms above the void. And then Satnam moves up over the top of these jungle trees, which are every imaginable tree, but they're transparent. They're actually transparent. You can see the golden white light of the hue moving up and down the trunks. Above the top of the trees, we're in a circle of beings around Tyrellian. We're Atmas, hovering above the forms we show each other, and we move inland until we stop to hover above, and we look down, a clearing, 100-foot wide, circular stone white floor. And in the middle of this floor is a 15-foot wide, scalloped-edged, white alabaster stone-like fountain. There's a statue of Satnam standing in it, with his palms open, hands at his side, facing forward. There's a white golden shaft of light coming down into this statue, which is a device, and pouring out the palms of his hands to fill this bowl. It's flowing over the outer scalloped edge in a radiant golden white sheet of light and disappearing in the ground. Behind a circular donut-shaped white stone sitting seat with 12 intricately carved scrolled white legs. The whole group of us around Ambassador Tyrellian are back inside this oval transparent light. And Satnam points. He's hovering outside the statue of himself, and he points into the shaft of light above it. And we are dart up inside it. We come out the other end and find ourselves beyond the Atma realm, beyond Satnam's realm. And we see we are now in a much brighter cobalt blue space of some celestial realm. In the vast distance, you can see a massive circular floating landmass There is a brighter white diamond beach circling the outer circumference. There's a blue-green luminous wave gently crashing continuously on this beach, moving clockwise as it moves around the entire circumference until it comes all the way back to the beginning and continues. It constantly moves. It is energy from source that holds this place up. This space, this cobalt blue space, has a white golden light behind it. You can see it. The sound here is like millions of men and women's voices singing the hue on multiple levels until it blends into a round, whole, vibrant tone. In the middle of this last landmass are 6 snow-covered bluestone mountains. They form a circle around, which you can see now because we're hovering above it, way inland. You're looking down on a blue glass-like tower. It's cylindrical, moves and narrows, and then it goes to a flattened oval center and up to a minaret point. There is another fountain, a blue scalloped edge fountain, inside this tower. It is the Hue Expansion Ray Academy Tower. This place, this whole place was built in a special parallel dimension between the top of Satnam's realm and the 6th realm. It's a place of experimentation. It's a place where masterful beings and silent mentors can work together and train students or move through the energy through them to change beings like us into something new. There's a white golden shaft of light coming down into this tower from its point that comes from an opening you see far above what we call the Hue Expansion Ray Academy. That hourglass-shaped vortex is here too. It continues way up through the other planes and connects through Agamparos's realm to Source. You can see down that this base of this tower is built around the outer circumference of a white disc-shaped island surrounded by a luminous blue-green lake in the base of these 6 mountains. At the base of this tower, in the center of the white island, is a 4-foot-high, rectangular, curved, polished-edged stone made of what on Earth would be called lapis lazuli. Hovering above it is a 4-foot in diameter, transparent blue sphere like glass, and a radiant cobalt blue star in the center of it, hovering right in the center of it. The shaft of golden white light from Source is coming down into this tower. And it goes out through roadways. There's a hollowed out interior of this huge floating landmass, like a big oval. The energy comes down inside that interior and is imparted into 12 trees that surround the outer inner circumference of this huge blue stone floor. Silent mentors are standing above each of these tall trees that here look like weeping willow trees. Broad, spoon-shaped, glowing leaves. A silent mentor with a different colored gown on, alternating male and female, are around the entire circumference of this facility. The Atma, they are 4 times wider, bigger than us, twice as many layers of colored teardrop-shaped faculties, are hovering above the forms. When you look in their faces, you don't see facial features in a silent mentor. You just see a white light. And when you look into the white light, you see levels upon levels upon levels of galaxies and planes. That's how they think. Then we find ourselves down inside the interior of this hollowed out Hue Expansion Ray Academy. And they've placed white beds here. They usually are not here. They're in another location. They've placed them in a circle. This is for the male and female Galactic Alliance escort companions, all of you, myself, Terrellian. Well, Terrellian's doing something different, but these white rectangular beds are glowing. They're pointing, the head of the beds is pointing towards Turelian, who is now hovering inside the shaft of light, coming down into the very center of this hollowed out chamber, the interior of the Hue Expansionary Academy. This is a silent mentor training facility, one of many. The sound here cannot be described in human terms. These facilities are new in creation. The training facilities in the Hue Expansionary Academy were not there past, I don't know, a dozen years ago, Earth time. They were built there to accommodate a great change in creation that is now passing down into the lower worlds of time and space to change it all permanently. We're in the crest of a wave of this change. These beings who show you this physical human peering form that isn't, standing on the tops of these trees, the sphere hovering above them. And you find yourself with your head pointing toward Turelian in the shaft of light at the center of this facility, with your feet towards the silent mentors. You're laying the perfect 36-year-old physical form you show each other on this bed. You are the spherical being hovering above this part of yourself. The energy from Source is moving down through Turelian. I'm standing by his right side. Satnam's standing by his left side. And it's moving through you, the core of your being, and down into the center of your head, and down your feet, and out to these trees, and up the trunks of these transparent weeping willow type trees, through the forms of silent mentors and through the white core of their being, and then they go out the top of these 12 beings and join together high above this facility near the ceiling, and they're sent back to Source. There is an energy coming the other way simultaneously that comes down through the tops of the silent mentors, through their forms, through the trees, through your feet, on these beds, up into the white core of your being, and right into Turelian and up that shaft of light. It's like the sign of affinity. It goes up and down and never stops moving, but it only moves one way. It looks like it's moving two ways, but it's really moving in one circle, or as the sign of infinity imparts, an elongated circle, you might say. And in this way, we don't know what they're doing to us, but they're certainly changing us to become prototypes. What do I mean by that? I mean beings who are a little bit of a blend of silent mentors and master teachers, something new, something that can administer the lower worlds of time and space without dealing with the old failed experiment of good and evil anymore. It's not needed to cattle prod people, bring their feet close to the fires of hell so they'll run the other way and acquire spiritual logic. It didn't work. It's never worked. It's failed. Playing with positive and negative things is a trap. Breaks a person in half. And down goes their energy and theory for nothing. This stops here. The energy that's moving through these beings is now sent down the shaft of Turelian below his feet. And it's sent experientially down into the bottom of the Hue Expansion Ray Academy, which looks like giant amethyst crystals, from an outer small ones to a big tall one in the center. It goes down those, it goes into Satnam's realm, right into the fountain by the garden, and through another bigger fountain, through the crystalline estate that he has against the mountain range. It goes down into the void. And it goes down into the lower worlds. And it goes down and connects to you, hovering in 5 different positions. We find ourselves up above the Hue Expansionary Academy, looking down at these 6 snow-covered mountains with blue stone. There is a horseshoe-shaped golden glowing tunnel cut into the base of all these mountains, all the way the circumference near the center of this huge floating landmass. These roadways are straight as an arrow, like white stone, like the spokes of a bicycle tire coming from the hub in every direction in a circle. As they move towards jungles and mountains and waterfalls and rivers and lakes, they pass by clearings, first to the right, then to the left, then to the right, then to the left. And these are teaching facilities. Each one is different from the other. Silent mentors and master teachers, and now you are being worked here or trained here. When you look up, you see this hourglass-shaped vortex connecting much further up above the U Expansion Ray Academy, and we're inside this white golden oval of light. Trillian standing in the center. I am beside him, Satnam's on the other side. You're all in a circle inside this energy. And then it shot up this vortex. The next thing you know, we're coming out in this protected field of energy in a realm that's fiery everywhere. It's blue, green, orange, yellow, purple, violet, everywhere, moving and twisting and turning and fading away. And a huge, luminous, white, golden being, many layers of these faculties, approaches us. Now, this is Agam Purusha. This is a being who literally runs the raw power of eternity, brought here, unmanifested from Source, the next plane above. And he regulates it, generates it down through these different doorways into the lower planes. Silent mentors and Agam Purusha work together. He approaches us. In the distance in this fiery light, we see a gigantic silver golden fir tree. It's massive. The branches are the size of planets. The trunks disappear in the fiery light below our feet. The top of the tree cannot be seen. It's too far out of sight. In the trunk of the tree is a powerful golden white light, channeled through this trunk from Source. It has a sound that cannot be described in human terms, but it's more beautiful than any orchestra or instrument on earth. The humming sound of the hue, way up high, flute, is still prevalent. And this being gives us permission to go into the trunk of the tree of life, which is what it's called. Each needle on each branch represents some location in the multidimensional universe. That's why it's called the Tree of Life. It is an interdimensional portal to those locations, all connected to one trunk from Source. We find ourselves transported up this shaft of this trunk of this tree. We come out the other end, and we are now in the realm of Prime Creator, Source. And it's a far more brilliant cobalt blue space everywhere. The sound here is like billions of men and women's voices, perfect voices, singing the hue, humming. Everything is sound here. First sound. And we are projected down towards this thing, and the center of this vast space looks like a silvery golden single galaxy. And we think at first that each of those luminous orbs are orbiting around it are stars. But as we pass between two of them in the outer layer, we realize there's a vast distance between them. The whole group of us passes through and moves through them. And as we pass through them, we begin to become aware that we are one of them. We never left the Source. This is our true form. Here, you're just a spherical being. You don't have a body form that looks human. You show each other. That's been absorbed back into the core of your being for this last step of the journey. And then we suddenly are shot out into the middle third of the hollowed interior, and we find out there's a huge white disc-shaped island floating in the middle of it, vibrating. And above it is hovering this massive Atma-like being. Thousands of layers of teardrop faculties, colors you can't describe on Earth, humming at us. And as we move between the two outer layers of these faculties, which is near the golden white area around the white core, we realize there's vast space between them. And then we're shot out into the very center of the white core, of source or prime creator. This is not a being, not an individual, someone sitting on a throne. This is a nexus where all atmas in all of creation and the entire creation, living and thriving and hovering within this omnipresent living power, which they're made of. This is a nexus where a presence manifests that you can speak with. It is not an individual like us. If we were like that, we would cease to be an individual. We would be the omnipresent conscious living power. That would be pointless. That's how things began. But they didn't begin in time and space. They just have always been. If you were to try to locate when atmas became spherical and conscious, you can't do it because it didn't happen in time and space. You can't think of it that way. And then we're suddenly listening to this deep baritone voice with the angelic, lovely quality of a feminine quality to it speak to us, and it welcomes us home. Welcome, courageous travelers. At the source, where you all originate, you know. We don't think, we don't feel here. We know. Knowing is the natural state of each atma. To know something, how to go from here to Zetranami 1 from Earth, we just know it. You can't think it because that drops it into the mental realm in the lower planes, and it's fraught with good and bad. Mistakes are made. Here there are no mistakes. There is no negative nature here. And now you must return. For to stay here longer, you would lose your physical bodies on Earth. This is too far removed from physical matter. There's a flash of white golden light. We find ourselves suddenly inside this transparent oval sphere around Lemriel, moving down through the void below Satnam's realm. And we come out the other end of this barrier of light like an aurora borealis. And on the other side, we are in the etheric plane. 80,000 continents, transparent matter. You can't even recall these worlds. They're like light floating with land masses in spheres without like a solid thing. And you're standing on the steps of a golden, blue, or green, or luminous stone floor, leads up to a palatial crystalline estate. You're all standing dressed in these elegant, flowing clothes, with your eyes closed. Each one of you on a different one of these platforms. Your body is transparent, the one you show each other here. Luminous centers, completely transparent, human-like. The atma you are is hovering above each one. And then Satnam and Lemriel appear standing beside each one of you simultaneously to give you a little kick in the rear end. They literally send an energy to you, kind of shocks you, not hurts. And what it's doing is waking you up, and you open your eyes, the physical form here, to look up and see the void, and see Satnam's realm and the Hue Expansionary Academy. You just become aware of it. They are doing this to you, Lemriel and Satnam. And they compel you to look down, and you look right down through the etheric plane, and you're suddenly in the mental plane. 144 parallel dimensions where thought moves all matter. And your bodies are semi-transparent here, luminous, well-dressed, made of much finer matter. And you're standing on a balcony, a disc, a half-moon shaped balcony in front of a huge clear dome, blue glass, jungle all around, luminous. You're either sitting down in a chair or standing up on the balcony, but your eyes are closed, which means your bodies in all these planes were put in the trance state before we started this journey. And then you suddenly find yourself as an atma hovering above this form. And Satnam and Lemriel appear beside it, send a little blue energy into it to shock it awake. It opens its eyes, it looks up and sees the etheric body, and looks down and sees the next dimension, major division, the causal plane, like smaller galaxies below your feet, whirling in the waters of the ocean that surround you. And then you're suddenly down inside that, in the causal area, standing in a jungle paradise, numbers of islands, countless worlds. And you're all standing with your bare feet on a blue, luminous, sandy beach somewhere. Your eyes are closed. Satnam and Lemriel appear beside you and have compel you to look up, see your causal body, and look down through another barrier of aurora rainbow-colored light, and you see the causal body above, mental body, then you look down and see the astral body. And you're now in a slower plane of molecular time rate, standing on a balcony with exotic wood rails, white stone floor, triple, sometimes quadruple domed homes, and you're just standing there. Appear to be about 36 here, but you're probably 20, 30,000 years old here. And then Satnam and Lemriel appear beside you, and they compel you to wake up and look at the causal body looking down at you. There's a connection being made. And then you're compelled to look down, and you see yourself hovering near the ceiling with the Galactic Alliance couple beside you, and the white golden light passing through the roof of where you live. And you look down, and it's the Atma with the form that looks perfect, you know, the human one that looks, the one you show each other, that's not made of matter, and it looks up and sees you looking down at it as the astral form. And then you find yourself, the being, looking up to your astral body. And you're looking down, and you realize to your left and right is a Galactic Alliance male and female with this perfectly dressed Galactic Alliance uniform on, big sphere hovering above them. You're showing them the same kind of 36-year-old flawless male if you're a male, or flawless female if you're a female. And it moves down through your body, through what people call the aura. It's a big spherical energy. It comes out the bottom of your spine, goes in a big circle, clear around, goes in the top of your head. That's what your aura really looks like. It's an electromagnetic field surrounding the pineal gland, emanating from it. The energy passes through you for your benefit. That's the Hue expansion ray. It goes through the walls of your house and connects to 3 pyramids located on Earth that have manifested. 2 of them are in the bottom of the deepest oceans, one in the Atlantic, one in the Pacific. Another one is in a hollowed out interior in a mountain in the Himalayan mountain range. Beams from those are then connected from fountains in those fountains. They connect together out in space, and they're beamed to a much larger pyramid out in space, hovering between 2 stable asteroids, magnetically grappled with it, you might say. And it's circling the orbit of what was a planet called Maldek, in the asteroid Fiegel that circles around the sun between Mars and Jupiter. A beam much thicker is beamed from the big fountain in that one all the way through different sun systems, to pyramids between them, to the galactic core of the Milky Way galaxy, and up the white golden core that it is, not a black hole. Human eyes just can't see it. And it goes all the way back to source where we just were, and it never stops. So you look down at your body, you look to your left and right, and you see this Galactic Alliance couple that look like Shantiel and Tonatiel, or Dantiel and Amtiel and others. They smile at you and vanish. And you can see from your place up above the ceiling, they are getting their bodies up out of egg-shaped blue cushion chairs aboard the Emerald Star Cruiser, their personnel that work there. So we are back. And you look down at your body, and you gradually awaken it and open your eyes. And then you can turn on your mics and we can have a jolly little chat. There's only a few of us, so it could be fun. So, you just experienced what is going on in present time out in space, which is what the Savior's Agenda book represents, amongst light races out among the stars, and how that's focused through Earth, because it is. The Emerald Doorway and the 3 books of the Parallel Time Trilogy are centered in the past, over 100,000 years ago, with the Galactic Alliance as it was then, with Master Ramu as he was then, Kalem and Melina as they were then, Etta and Din as they were then. They weren't master teachers yet. When you're back here, what you're doing, remember that grain of sand we got from Satnam's realm? We picked up another grain in the beach that circles the Hue Expansion Ray Academy. And we picked up an energy, a drop of energy from the source when we're there. We bring that back with us. It moves through our bodies. It cannot be grasped. You can't possess it. It moves through you for your benefit. And it continues through you out to charge, begin to charge Earth's atmosphere, and for the benefit of others. This is how we work now. This is how we earn our wings, so to speak. So, I will bring this recording to a close. You can say, yeah, you guys can all hear.